February 28th, the 24-hour economic blackout. No Amazon, no Walmart, no fast food, no gas, not a single unnecessary dollar spent. For one day, we are going to finally turn the tables.
Maybe you've seen segments like this on your social feeds. This call for an economic blackout has been spreading, and activists are urging Americans to refrain from making any purchases at major retailers tomorrow on Friday. The nationwide protest comes as people continue to endure rising prices on everything from food and gas to housing and utilities. National consumer reporter for USA Today, Betty Lynn Fisher, joins us now from Akron, Ohio, to talk about what this all means. So fill us in. What is the purpose specifically of this blackout?
Good morning. So, this started out as you just saw the video of Jon Schwartz, who goes by the one called Jay on Instagram. And he says that it just started as a bold idea where he was frustrated and wanted to have consumers take back a day and, take a day starting tomorrow after midnight, and for 24 hours not to shop or spend any money anywhere in person or online, to just try to make an impact on what he calls corporate greed.
Is there any hint or evidence as to how much this is catching on, and which companies? We heard him mention some of them, but which ones are being targeted, and why this date of February 28th?
Yeah, I think he just came up with a date when he was coming up with this bold idea for one date to start with. It does seem that this has become kind of a viral social media movement. There has been a lot of people posting. There are also, in addition to this is the People's Union, is Jon Schwartz's group. This is kind of their initial one-day boycott. They have since expanded, and they'll be doing some other events too. So for tomorrow, there's not any specific company that is targeted. They have mentioned companies like Target and Walmart and Amazon, but the idea is not to spend money anywhere. But then there are other efforts by the People's Union, as well as other organizations that have been upset with companies such as Target and Walmart and Amazon that have rolled back their diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, as well as President Trump's elimination of federal DEI programs since taking office.
Yeah, that's something I had seen over the past month, as people voicing ways that they could show frustration from DEI policies being rolled back. Is this likely to have an impact on the economy, though? I mean, one single day of buying things you don't need could be supplemented by buying them on Saturday.
Right. It remains to be seen. I think that it's hard to know whether or not there really is going to be something quantifiable to show data that one day has made an impact, or like you said, that people aren't buying today or aren't buying on Saturday. There are other efforts by this group and others to expand their boycotts to week-long or month-long. There are some that are right now indefinitely boycotting Target. There is a call by the religious community to start on Ash Wednesday, March 5th, a 40-day fast of Target, also to protest the DEI initiatives.
Interesting. People trying to figure out different ways of getting their messages heard. Betty Lynn Fisher, great to chat with you about this. Appreciate you waking up with us.
China has made a string of changes to its regulations on the People's Liberation Army, emphasizing the significance of war readiness and overseas missions. Now, according to the state news agency Xinhua, the amendments have set to come into force in April and underline that winning battles would be the top responsibility of the Chinese military, fundamentally focusing on the preparation and readiness for combat. Xinhua has further reported that the regulations have been revised to enhance the rule of law in the military, building a strong force which is loyal to the party and has a deep sense of discipline and integrity to be able to fight effectively. Now, the amendments reflect the targets of President Xi Jinping to modernize PLA by 2035 and to become a top-ranked military by the year 2050. The three revised regulations signed by Xi deal with the PLA's internal affairs, discipline and military formations. The new regulations on internal affairs urge the Chinese soldiers to be ready for war at any time by focusing on military affairs study, researching warfare and boosting their combat capabilities to win battles. Now, according to the new rules, military units are required to include wartime management and training exercises and drills. And apart from that, stringent protocols have been put in place in the updated directives to safeguard the military secrets, and a new section has been added for the management of overseas missions. Now, compared with the 2018 version of the regulations, which is just 5 mentions on the term wartime, the word appears 49 times in the new rules. Now, the entire exercise is part of Beijing's attempts to upgrade its legal framework amidst heightened tensions with the United States and escalations with nations such as Taiwan and the Philippines in the South China Sea.
Israel has been unleashing its fury on Gaza in its quest to avenge the October 7th, 2023 terror attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to eliminate Hamas from the face of the earth. Our next report explores how, after 508 days, Gaza is still in ruins, but Hamas is still a force to reckon with.
Hamas has not only survived 15 months of war with Israel, but as seen in these images of armed with deadly assault rifles during the handover of hostages, they are standing tall. Hamas remains a deadly guerrilla force. It is still in de facto control of large swaths of the Gaza Strip. Armed men in military fatigues and wearing Hamas green headbands present a concerning sight for Israel that claims to have severely weakened the group. Last September, the Israeli defense minister said Hamas does not exist as a military force, but now standing amidst the rubble. The images tell a different story. According to reports, Hamas is now regrouping its military forces for a potential return to fighting with Israel in Gaza, as mediators work to salvage the ceasefire that expires this weekend in the Strip. The militant group's armed wing has appointed new commanders and also mapping out positions to be manned by fighters in the event of a return to war, according to Arab officials who communicate with Hamas. The US-designated terrorist group is also repairing its underground tunnel network. It is further distributed. Leaflets to inexperienced new fighters on using weapons to mount a guerrilla war against Israel. According to US intelligence, the Palestinian militant group Hamas has recruited between 10,000 to 15,000 members since the start of its war with Israel. According to Israeli intelligence, Hamas is also arming its fighters with weapons stolen from Israeli military bases. A military report from early last year noted that thousands of bullets and hundreds of guns and grenades were stolen from poorly guarded bases. The group has shown no sign of being reluctant to fight. Israel warned in the last round of ceasefire talks that if progress isn't made, it will go into Gaza. But Hamas, it seems, is prepared to fight, even from the ruins of the besieged Strip.
All is not well between Israel and Egypt. The outgoing IDF Chief of Staff, Herzi Halevi, has voiced concerns over the strength of the Egyptian military. Halevi has cited Egypt's advanced weaponry and sizable forces to support his concerns. In an interview to the Israeli Channel 14, Halevi has said, and I quote him here, "We are very worried about this. Egypt has a large army equipped with advanced combat systems, aircraft, submarines, warships and modern tanks, along with a vast number of infantry troops." Halevi said that Egypt does not currently pose a threat. However, he has warned that the situation can change in an instant with a shift in leadership. Now, Halevi's comments have come in the backdrop of reports that say that Egypt is changing its military deployments in the Sinai Peninsula. Satellite images are indicating a repositioning of the Egyptian troops that have caused significant worry amongst the IDF border establishments. The report suggests that the IDF security and military institutions have obtained testimonies indicating that Egypt is allegedly repositioning its forces in Sinai in violation of the 1979 Camp David Accords. The treaty divides the Sinai into 3 zones, restricting military presence in certain areas. Experts say that if the reports are to be believed, then the recent modifications allow the Egyptian forces to be deployed in previously demilitarized zones. The IDF has also acknowledged recently the smuggling of long-range weapons into Israel via drones. Israel believes that these weapons previously had made their way from Sinai to Hamas-held Gaza. However, now the IDF is deployed along the Philadelphia corridor on Gaza's border with Egypt. Now, this, the Israelis say, has resulted in the emergence of an alternate modus operandi for transporting weapons. On the Israeli side, the smugglers are waiting on high-speed ATVs and vanish within seconds. Now, this is a relatively new smuggling route that the Israeli authorities are still trying to work on to trace the destination of the weapons.